Hi there, here is an Ask Allison for today. So at the start of last week, some of my therapists went straight to online and kept most of their caseloads. Some, however, gave the option of online versus in-person and now have lost most of their caseload when I closed the office to in-person appointments. This was a span of 3 days. The therapists who have lost their clients absolutely made it sound like the worst choice. Any suggestions for reactivating those clients now that it's clear that we are virtual for the long haul? So I'd like to thank TherapyNotes for sponsoring us today. So this is pretty consistent with what I've been seeing is when you give an option of online versus not, instead of like kind of being the leader in it and saying, this is what we're doing now, we're doing online. Happy to answer any questions you have. There's a real discrepancy between who's keeping their clients and who's not. I think some of it is like the wishy-washiness of like, well, you could do this or you could do this. At a time when there's a lot of wishy-washy going on in our world, like we don't know what's happening. So I think for clients, they're wanting a leader right now. I mean, aren't you? I would love a leader right now. And so just as an aside, not even answering this person's question, but for anybody who hasn't moved online yet, I highly suggest just being like, here's what we're doing. We have a script for that. And you can find that over at abundancepracticebuilding.com/COVID. Okay, so first, I would give your clinicians access to some information about the efficacy of telehealth. If they don't believe it's as good, they're going to continue to project that when they talk about it and even when they're in session. And so I'm going to give 2 different scripts for re-engaging these clients. I'm going to put them in the captions for anybody to copy and paste, and they're also going to be on our COVID page, which again is abundancepracticebuilding.com/COVID. I'll also say that timing is going to be really important here. If you're in a place that's holding its breath and watching this tidal wave come, your clients might not be ready to re-engage. We're all kind of hoping it's not going to be as bad as we fear in our communities. Well, I have yet to hear that experience from anybody that I've talked to, and I've talked to people all over the world at this point. I'm still crossing my fingers for my own community that it's going to be less bad than we think. So they may be waiting to see what happens first, and they might be in freeze mode. If you're in New York City and the tidal wave, or at least the first tidal wave, has hit, now it might be a good time to reach out. So for those of you who own group practices, it's also important that this comes from the clinician that the client has a relationship with, not the owner of the practice. And lastly, I'll say for those of you who are copying and pasting, please edit these for grammar. I'm really not good with commas, and I want you to look smarter than my mistakes. So here's example number 1. Hey, client name. I'm checking in on you. It's surreal to think that we were sitting across from each other last week or a few weeks ago. I'm having clients call who initially wanted to wait this out and come back when we could be in person again. Since it's looking like we'll be social distancing for an extended period of time, I wanted to make sure you knew that I'm here if you want to process through some of this and continue to work through your presenting concern. And continue to work through your OCD, your substance abuse, your whatever. So make it specific to each client. Video therapy may have seemed weird when I brought it up, but I'm finding it feels much more like being in person than I imagined. You may already have that experience spending virtual time with friends over the last few days. Please tell me you're hanging out with friends online. Connection is so important right now. You can schedule an appointment by blank, or let me know if you want to schedule an appointment. I'm thinking about you. Stay safe and healthy. Then your name. Here's another option. If that one feels a little too familiar, I know we have some different boundaries. So this one's a little bit more buttoned up. Client name. I hope you're healthy and taking good care of yourself. I know it's hard to manage your presenting concern amid all the changes and challenges of this pandemic. In the conversations I've had with the clients that transitioned to video therapy, we found some grounding and respite from all of this by something actionable that's helping, number 1, comma, something actionable that's helping, number 2, comma, something actionable that's helping, number 3. I wanted to share that with you in case it's helpful. Now I'm going to interrupt my own script and say, this is not the time to say something that's already all over social media or Google. So this isn't like, get dressed in the morning, it'll help you have a more productive day. I want this to be really specific to your ideal client or the specific client you're emailing, even if they're not ideal, and what's going to help them right now with their struggles, with this stuff going on. So if they were worried about their parents not taking it seriously, for instance, then give them some actionable tips for breathing through that, and not like take deep breaths, but like if it's a loving kindness meditation for your people, if that's something your people are into, maybe a very specific loving kindness meditation for their parents. If it's an effective way to communicate that fear to their parents. If it's about a way of letting go and not like accepting the lack of control around what their parents do, being like non-codependent about it, then maybe that's the tack that you take. But putting something in there that's specific to them and not something they're seeing on Huffington Post or Elephant Journal from some random person they don't even know. Okay, back to the script. It looks like social distancing may be a matter of months instead of weeks as we'd hoped. If you need support at any point during that time, let me know. I have a few spots open right now if the timing's right for you. I'm thinking about you. Stay safe and healthy. Then your name. So I would send one email total at this stage. In a month, I'll think through this again and maybe suggest a new set of emails, but I think we all kind of need to see how this plays out to determine whether that's just badgering somebody who's going through a global crisis or whether it's extending a hand to someone drowning. So again, I think timing is really important if you're only sending one email. So I hope that's helpful. I hope that sufficiently answers your how do I re-engage clients question, whether you're in a group practice, own a group practice, or you're in solo practice. We have a ton of resources for free. No email address necessary at all over at abundancepracticebuilding.com/COVID. If you have a question you want me to answer on here, please send me a DM over on Instagram where I'm abundance_practice_building. All right, y'all take good care.